Gather around, I got a story to tell. Gather around, I got a story to tell. Today's story, it take place at OBCC box, 1 South. And I know a lot of y'all been to 1 South before. 1 South was no joke. It was one of those boxes where the worst of the worst, that's where they put us. And when I say the worst of the worst, it's what they deem the worst of the worst. Cut-ins, stabbings, people that was like into that type of stuff. Excessive fighting, things of that nature. And I remember being in there, and the box was out of control. I've been to other cell blocks in OBCC box, but I always used to wonder how come it was so hard for me to get assistance from a captain or a sergeant or a lieutenant when I was in the box, because sometimes you need them to for emergency sick call and things like that. They got to sign off on it, and they used to take them so long to come upstairs to the other houses. So if 1 South was where all the action was happening, there was 8 to 9 other houses. So you had 3 North, 3 South, 3 Southwest. You had 4 South, 4 Southwest. There was so many different houses, but all the action was inside 1 South. And I went to 1 South after I came out the box for it was a violent act. I don't want to get into it, but I got hit with 4 months straight. So as soon as I go in there, it smelled like feces. It smelled like shit. And I see dudes squirt they had walk cartons filled with milk, feces, urine, and they call it shit bombs. And when a correction officer walked by, and if the prisoner didn't like the correction officer or was beefing with the correction officer, we call it trying to shit the correction officer down. So they'll throw a shit bomb through the slot. So some people were so obsessed. They were so obsessed with throwing shit bombs, they even put a metal thing over their slot to where they can't. There's no way possible they'll be able to throw a shit bomb. So when I went in there, it smelled like shit, and it was some of the most craziest prisoners I ever been around. That element was just a different element. And there was one Haitian dude in there. He was mad short. He probably about 5'3", and he was real defiant. He was real thorough. He just talked with a big voice. I seen how short he was because he was what they had. When you're in the box, they escort you to the shower. So when they was escorting him to the shower, I laughed because we used to talk through the vent. And in the box, you don't really get to see who's who, and they don't give you a shower every day. I think they give you a shower every 3 to 4 days. So when I finally seen him, I broke out laughing because I'm talking to him through the vent, and I'm imagining him being some big 6'5" guy. His voice was booming through the vent, and when I see him, he's this little short guy, but he was very tough. So one day he stuck up his gate. So that means when they bring you your food, you put your hand in the way so they can't close your slot. So he stuck it up. He basically was like, get away from it. You try to close it, I'm gonna hit you with a shit bomb. So they was running, and then they called all the security in the building. So people came, the C.O.s came with shields, and they had the shields with the electricity on the shield. So they could press a button, and the shield would and have electricity coming through the shield. So they was going in there, and they was telling him, if we rush this cell with this electric shield and our tasers and stuff, we're gonna really hurt you. So he was like, come on, bring it on, So he beefing back and forth with the correction officer. But something had happened. I don't know why he was beefing, the overall incident. I don't know why he was beefing, but I know that they was 10, 12 deep trying to rush his cell. And then he went and closed the slot. They can't finish up the day without him closing his slot, right? It's protocol. So he was like, I'm not closing shit. So they was like, all right. They opened up his cell. They said, yo, open up such and such cell. They opened it up. He had a surprise for their ass. In every box, they have sprinklers there. So while they coming in with the electric shells and them shits is he somehow got a lighter, and he basically let the sprinklers off, right? So as they coming in with the electric shells, the water's hitting the shells, and then you just hear bad zzz, and they scream like, oh shit, and they trying to tase him, but he was ready for their ass. He had shit in a sock. He was swinging a sock. Basically, the first 4 that came through, they had got the business. and they ran out his cell, you know. And when they ran out his cell, he closed his door, boom, and then he started yelling, yeah, I told y'all. The whole 1 South was going crazy, like, yeah, that's right. You know, any sign of prisoners winning in a fight against the correction officers, it brings a lot of joy to us, especially in the box. So, you know, eventually they ended up extracting him from his cell and, you know, putting him in another cell or whatever. But for that brief little short moment, you know, we felt relieved and we felt good that the Haitian dude was able to, you know, get over on the correction officers. You know, with that being said, them boxers are dangerous, and I'm so glad that the public, the people out there, was making complaints about our loved ones being in the box, and they changed the rules of how the box is. The box is totally different now, but this is back in the day. It's like 13 years ago. So just want to tell y'all, man, stay out the box, stay out of prison, use your mind, man. It's your greatest weapon. Like my homegirl Lisa ever said. And with that being said, I'm going.